Massachusetts and Georgia that are nowhere near the U.S.-Mexico border, well, they're injecting the issue of illegal immigration into their state's gubernatorial races. Here now to talk about what it could mean in November, Sarah Lenti, who served on the National Security Council under President George W. Bush, and David Mercer, former Deputy National Finance Director for the DNC. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Sarah, you know, the GOP is being accused quite a bit over the last couple of months of playing politics with this issue of immigration. Is that what they're doing? And isn't, you know, politics is a part of this discussion, no matter what you think.
It is, but I think this goes back to an action at the federal level, meaning by the president and this Congress to develop a comprehensive immigration reform plan. It's pushing gubernatorial candidates to sort of lash out with proposals that are in some cases moderate, in some cases rather extreme.
And David, obviously, the administration and many Democrats are taking heat from the other side, from the left, saying, you're not getting anything done. You promised to get us comprehensive reform. I mean, where does this leave the Democrats?
I think it leaves the Democrats in the position where they have to continue and will continue to fight for immigration reform. As we know, those efforts had been thwarted by the GOP caucus. You had people such as Senator Lugar or McCain and others who had been supportive of immigration reform, but the caucus, Republican caucus, prevailed on them in delaying action on a federal level. And I agree with Sarah that the American people want immigration reform. It has to happen on the federal level in terms of protecting our borders, in terms of deporting undocumented immigrants that should not be here. And we have to fight for that. And we should not be distracted by efforts at the state level in trying to create a situation where the blame should be shared by Democrats only.
Well, it's interesting that this topic has become so state-focused and state-driven, primarily because of Arizona. We see polling about whether or not you'd like a similar law in your own state. I thought it was interesting in Georgia, both the candidates there for governor, Democrat and Republican now, say that they would actually support something like the Arizona law in Georgia. Sarah, any surprise that both sides of the ticket are talking about that in a supportive fashion?
No, I think polling overall, from what I've seen, 60% of Americans said that they support something that's Arizona-esque for immigration reform, but those same people, 58% say that they worry about the implementation of that law and what it would mean for civil rights. So I think people are practical and fair-minded about this. I also think that at the end of the day, who really knows what's in the Arizona law? And I think that's a larger question.
David, are you surprised at all? I mean, for so long, people have viewed the Democrats as the party of Hispanics. I mean, that they have, you know, got those votes locked up in many ways. Do you think that's going to be the case this fall with this particular issue raging out there?
Well, I think the purpose for elections is not to take any vote for granted, and we always have to build our case, and I think we have a good case. I don't think that the Republicans have any case at all, and the Council on La Raza has written to the Republican leadership to say how offended they were by the Arizona law. So it's a delicate situation and one that may come back to bite the GOP in the way they're playing with the issue now.
All right, David and Sarah, thank you very much on this particular topic. We'll ask you to stand by because after the break, we're going to take the panel's opinion on the youth vote. Young voters played a huge role in the 2008 presidential election. So how are they going to impact this fall's midterm races? Will they show up? We're going to break it down with our panel right after the break. And the Mormon Church is launching an ad campaign to let the world know who they really are. Find out why it's attracting the attention of politicians and pundits as well. While many college-age students remain liberal when it comes to social issues, things like gay marriage, the troubling economic outlook has a good number of young people now distancing themselves from the Democratic Party. Could that shift things going into this midterm election this fall? We're back with our political strategists, Sarah Lenti and David Mercer, to talk about it. All right, David, they were a key in 2008. They were really excited about President Obama, but he's not on the ballot this fall. Will young voters show up?
Yes, they will, and they are a key segment of the voting electorate. And I might just emphasize that he doubled the support of young voters for the Democratic ticket in 2008. Right now, he's still 20% more in favorability than the Republicans. So I think we rely on them. I think we will court them, and we will demonstrate that the reforms that the president has put in place, as well as the candidates running for re-election or challenging the GOP and the counters to the reforms that we're seeking, are there to vote so that we can continue the momentum going into 2011.
And Sarah, is there an opportunity here for the GOP to move in? Because, I mean, when we look at the numbers, a year or so ago, about 62% of this younger group identified themselves as leaning Democrat. It's dropped to 54% with a teeny bit of a rebound there. What does the GOP do to capitalize?
Well, I don't think they have to do much, actually. I think right now the youth vote is going to be voting on the #1 issue, which is the economy. There's overall economic angst today in America, and I don't think it matters if you're under 30 or over 30. This is about holding government responsible. The Democrats hold 2 out of the 3 branches of government, and I think voters are going to say, we're holding you accountable now.
All right, David, how do you counteract that?
I would counteract it is that we've only been in power for less than 2 years, and we are trying to overcome 8 years of, call it benign neglect, in dealing with a lot of the challenges that we now face and that would have been a lot worse had they not been addressed in both healthcare reform or financial reform. And we have to keep the momentum going to seeking others, whether it be energy, the environment, immigration, as we were talking about earlier. And I think, I, as a college student earlier back 20 years ago, remember that, it all wasn't well then, but I saw a way and commitment to the Democratic Party, and I think those youth voters that voted for Obama will see him and the Democratic Party through to brighter days.
All right, we are out of time, so we'll leave it there, but we thank you both for a good political debate today. Sarah and David, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.